All right, here with Travis Bader, three-time TBT champion with Overseas Elite, has made a lot of money from TBT. Travis, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Always good to kind of reflect on the TBT days. Those were, a little while in the past, but always good to kind of chop it up and talk about it.
Absolutely. So you were a part of three championships, 2015, 2016, 2017. So three-peat of the four-peat, but there's a big time story about that first game on the first championship run. Makes the most sense to start there. Can you take me through, the lead up to the first ever Overseas Elite game?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because I was playing summer league in Orlando. I was playing with the Thunder, and my agent Andrew Morrison was the GM of Overseas Elite at the time, and he was actually trying to convince me to play in TBT. I might have been the hardest sell from what he always describes and talks to people. Just because I was in summer league at the time, that's kind of where my focus was. I was all in on that. I just kind of come out of college recently and still focused on, like hopefully have a shot at the NBA or what my pro career would look like. And I didn't know too much about TBT, to be honest. So he was kind of talking to me throughout the weeks of, we need you to commit. We can make it happen. I know you're going to summer league, but afterwards we'll figure it out. You'll fly in, maybe not play the first game, not the second, whatever it is. You'll see how you do in the summer league, and then you'll come and join us. We'll have a couple guys. We'll have 6, 7 guys. We'll be fine. And so I agreed to it, and all was good. Played an early game. I don't know what day it was, but I played an early game with the Thunder, and ended up flying out and to catch a flight to get to the TBT game. And I didn't even know the whole flight. I didn't know when I landed. My agent picks me up from the airport in Atlanta, and I don't even remember. It was a 30-minute drive to the gym. I hop in the car, and he just looks at me, and he was just like, "How you feel?" I was like, "I feel good. Hopefully we can get a win first game. See what it's like." And he goes, "Oh, that's good, man. But you're rested. Body feels good because you're our fifth guy." And I was just kind of like just switch gears, and I was like, "Okay, I'm the fifth guy. So anybody showing up mid game? Are we gonna have a sub? What's going on here?" I rolled up to the gym. I think I was 20, 30 minutes before tip off. He was telling me about we were gonna have to forfeit if your flight got delayed and all this and that. So I ended up getting there 20, 30 minutes before. We threw 5 on the court, played the game, rocked, and ended up getting a nice win.
So if the records indicate correctly, you had a pretty solid game, 13 points, 6 rebounds. Do you consider yourself a rebounding machine?
Oh man. Yeah, we were just joking, but the 13 points, the 6 rebounds was more impressive in my mind. But I guess when you play the entire game, you gotta up your rebounding skills, and you kind of gotta try to do it all. It was a fun game, honestly, from what I remember. It's one of those things where it wasn't a packed gym by any means. It was, kind of like a high school gym, and there's nobody in the stands. It was TBT was pretty new. And so you're kind of just out there playing ball. You're kind of just playing pickup, and at the time you're having fun with not coming out of the game. Hitting your timeouts, catching your rest, but also playing with a new group of guys that you've never played with before. For a lot of us, that was our first time kind of meeting each other, and a lot of us were connected with Drew Morrison. But that was our first time on court together, and we just kind of started clicking. We started figuring out each other's games, and so kind of looking back and reflecting on that, it just had this pickup feel to it, and it was just it was a fun experience.
So not just because of your skills as a player, but literally the circumstances. Is it safe to say without Travis Bader, there's no Overseas Elite run? I mean, if your flights to what airline was it?
Man, I don't even know, honestly. I just remember I hopped on my flight. I just thought I was going to get there, kind of be there, support the team, maybe play a few minutes here and there, see what it was all about. And I was shocked a little bit when I found out I was the fifth guy. I'm still a little convinced Drew is a smart guy. He would have picked somebody up from, sitting in the stands. He would have recruited, himself. He would have hopped out there. That's how much he really wanted to be a part of TBT and wanted to kind of, this group. And I'm glad it worked out the way it did. So But those guys that I played with, unbelievable talent. So, with me getting there and being able to start this whole thing is part of the story. I'm all here for it. But those guys, you could have thrown probably a lot of people just as a fifth guy for them, and Eric McCollum would have run away with it and probably scored 40 and carried us to a win.
Let's talk a little bit about those guys, because you guys were unbeatable, literally, after that game. Who were some of the guys you really liked playing with? Who were some of the guys that you were like, damn, I didn't know they were like that?
Yeah, I mean, Eric McCollum is a straight up bucket. Everybody knows that. You see obviously him and his brother and smaller school type guys, and just understand the work ethic, discipline it takes to be successful. And he impressed me a lot, just his poise, his maturity. You're seeing him now with his professional career, and it's unbelievable, what he's doing overseas, what he's doing in EuroLeague. So I love following him still, but I was just always impressed with just kind of how he carried himself, how he kind of led guys at the time. And like I said, it was a group of guys who never played together. And so he kind of took that leadership role amongst himself to kind of connect the group. So he's definitely, try to keep in touch with him, played against him overseas, the year after and stuff like that, and kind of had some good dinners with him and whatnot. Kyle Fogg, same thing, unbelievable person, does a lot of great things outside of the game of basketball, and needs to get more credit for kind of, just what he's doing outside of basketball. But on the court, same thing, straight bucket. He carried us to a lot of wins. And then you can go down the list. Jahandre Jefferson, great dude, great player. Todd O'Brien at the time. I'm trying to name some of the original guys really that were part of that first game, that first weekend. And then obviously you get to the guys like DJ Kennedy, Kane, who joined the next year. So it goes down the line, down the list of unbelievable talent. And once again, that's just amazing, being able to set up that team, being able to put together that group, those individuals, that talent, those personalities too, because you look at the team and there's a lot of personalities on that team. I mean, I can recall just about every championship game, every, Final Four, whatever it was, as we got closer to kind of winning the whole thing. We almost got in a lot of situations where, it's a 3-point game and all of a sudden Kennedy's getting into it with somebody from the other team and there's a minute to go on the clock and you're just sitting there like, come on, man, we're so close to this money. So being able to kind of manage just everybody's personalities and the talent, it was a special group, and it kind of kept growing throughout the years, obviously. But it's kind of cool to reflect back, see that first group, that first unit, the Eric McCollum, Kyle Fogg, Jahandre Jefferson, Todd O'Brien, guys like that.
So what do you think was the biggest reason why you guys were able to keep winning? Because you've mentioned a bunch of really, really good players, but
Yeah.
as TBT got better, as you guys got better, so did TBT. It's not like, hey, Overseas Elite has the 10 best guys in TBT, like they're going to walk through the tournament. Like, why do you think you guys were really able to succeed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think with anything, you have a little bit of luck with winning, especially doing it 4 years in a row. There's a lot of, I was part of 3, but the team went on to do 4 years. And you got to look at a couple of these games and kind of realize you do get a little bit lucky here and there. You kind of escape with some victories that maybe you look back on and say, well, that could have been a 1-year thing. That could have been a 2-year thing, but ended up being 4. So I think that's with anything. Ball rolled our way a little bit. I also just think it was a group of guys. I think it was the personalities, like I said, the confidence in the guys we had on our team. There was never a moment, we would be down at half. Other teams would come back and it's a close game to finish out with the last 2 minutes. And our guys' confidence never wavered, and which is really impressive considering how pressure filled the tournament is, especially our games looking back at all our championship games, I'm pretty sure they were all really close games. And like I said, you get into it where it is so heated that the other team, us, everybody's thinking about that money as you get a little bit closer, and your nerves tense up a little bit. We had a lot of guys go and make some big time free throws. I remember Kennedy taking over, wanting to get fouled, go to the free throw line, tie a game, and knocking out some big shots with, 20, 30 seconds left. So I think it's just the group of guys, the personalities, the confidence of these guys. It was a great team. It was awesome, to be a part of it. And Drew Morrison did a great job assembling it.
I asked Eric McCollum a similar question. What did your basketball identity look like during this stretch run? Like, were people saying, "Hey, that's Travis Bader from Overseas Elite," or "Hey, that's Travis Bader. He's got a little extra money in his pocket, a little more than the last time I saw him."
Yeah, it's funny too because TBT. So I came out of college, had a pretty good college career, went on to play some summer leagues, had a bunch of draft workouts, stuff like that. So like I said, my goal was always trying to focus on my pro career, the NBA. TBT was relatively new. After we won that first one, it seemed like that became kind of like my identity, the story. Everybody I saw from my college, my old coaches, everybody's talking about, oh, that money, let me hold something. You're taking me to dinner, talking about TBT. And I'm just like, yeah, I just wrapped up in France and G League too. Like I'm going to Lithuania. I'm doing stuff like that. But it just always seemed to be focused on TBT, which is pretty cool because I think that we've seen TBT grow. I think that, a lot of it has to do with the players that are now playing. It's just high level guys, and people want to watch these guys, especially from universities. You have your fan base, your alumni, your old coaches, the old staff, stuff like that. People want to turn on ESPN in the summers and see TBT. We see it now at Wichita State, and you have thousands of fans coming back to watch that, which is unbelievable. So it is kind of taking, shape and form of being this huge summer basketball thing where there's no basketball in the summer. And now let's watch that. And then it becomes a talking point of, wow, you won one, you won two, you won three. Like that's almost become the basketball identity of my pro career, which is honestly pretty cool. I love it. I love when people talk about it, and kind of hearing about it now is pretty special.
So we've seen three-peats in the NBA. We saw the Overseas Elite four-peat. It's very rare in college basketball for teams to repeat. And even in TBT, there's only been one repeat champion, and it was Overseas Elite 4 years in a row. You guys, three and then four. Do you think what you guys did will ever be recreated in the world of basketball?
I mean, I'd never say never. Obviously, you look at our team from the start, and like I mentioned, there's so many close games of, it could have easily not have worked out for us in the first game. And we end up beating Team Colorado by 5 points or something. Like there's a lot of moments in that game you look back on and it never happened one time. Then it doesn't happen the second, maybe the team gets disassembled, new people. It's just, you just don't know the situation. So, I mean, I'd never say never, but before Pete, 4 years is pretty tough to do, pretty difficult. When I see someone do two, then maybe I'll start to think it's possible. But for now, I'm going to say the Overseas Elite was a pretty special group, and being able to do that solely.
My last question I have for you: you are retired in terms of your playing career. How big would the pot have to get in TBT to get you to dust off the shoes?
I mean, I'm retired, but I'm playing every day. I'm still out there. So, I mean, it just depends on the situation. If it was Overseas Elite trying to get another run at it and wanted me to join, it'd definitely be something to think about. You always have, at Oakland, I played at Oakland University in college, and you always have guys. We had a lot of, really good former or players that played, had good pro careers, and a couple of guys over there now. And they always kind of start some messages here and there and say, let's form a team, let's do this and that. And in my head, it's a little difficult being I was a part of Overseas Elite for 3 years. And, it's definitely a thing of let's go have fun and let's play. And I'm all for that. But you win 3 years in a row and you have some high expectations. So
Absolutely. Well, Travis Bader, I appreciate this. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Without you, there's no 4 straight championship for Overseas Elite. But you're a TBT legend, a household name everywhere, but definitely in TBT. So
appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, and appreciate what you've done for TBT and for basketball.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me. And like I said, it's fun to watch. It's fun to see that TBT continues to grow. So appreciate you having me. Appreciate you guys, holding out. And I don't know if anybody stalled that first game so I could get there, but it's fun to reflect. So appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Clocking out early, that's the dish I don't like. Been getting it, I'll be at the bar tonight. Told the bartender, go and take my card to swipe. You try the same thing, but your card get declined. White rappers nowadays, no, we're not too hard to find. I'm so dapper with my ways, I'm gonna linger in your mind. Always told me good things will come to those who are patient, but I've been way too patient, writing bars in my basement. I'm anxious in the real world, it's time for me to say this. The basics, the talent in my mind, I can't waste it. My life is too safe, it's my time for it's taken. I'm baking my mind, every day it's the same-ish. Lazy, my grind needs to get a new facelift. Coming from the underground and busting through the pavement. Rock with it, and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it, and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Don't think that I'm playing because I'm saving the game, and I said that I will be more because oh yeah, that is so raving, racing and pacing around all these lames in my lane, out my way, unless you're trying to pay me. Not from the playpen, it's coming from the jungle. When you hear the bell, you better be ready to rumble because I'ma grab the gloves and I'm gonna flex my muscles. Go ahead and spit some bars, but you're probably just gonna mumble. A lot of rappers these days really need to get them humble cause they think they at the top, they better stop before they stumble. Cause I'm swiping all their biddies while they swiping right on Bumble. And your girlie calls me daddy, but she only calls you uncle. But no, we not related, homie, no, we not some fam. You never get in clubs, you can't even get in sand. You never get in dubs like the Browns from the land. When push comes to shove, wave that towel in your